He's such a slimeball, this Terry McCauliffe. Always one step ahead of the law. Clinton bag man. It's just unbelievable. The Democrats nominate these hacks, these operators. We have a very close election in Virginia. I've actually looked at some of the polls, and people who think it's a hands-down win for Youngkin are seriously mistaken. The modern Democrat is really stuck on their party in many respects. The Democrat Party has built a base based on various ideological approaches that is quite strong, actually. And no amount of logic or rationale can break them from that base. And Terry McCauliffe knows this. Terry McCauliffe goes on and on about Youngkin, and he says Youngkin, if he's elected governor, there'll be no more abortions in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, regardless of your view of that, that's an impossibility. So on radio the other day, I said, okay, Terry, I will bet you $1 million that if Youngkin is elected governor, that in fact there will be abortions in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We haven't heard from Terry McCauliffe. I asked my radio producer to track him down, but he's very busy. So that's a lie, but he knows that that resonates with some people. I don't know why it does. I don't know why abortion is such a hot topic. I mean, even under certain circumstances, it's still the elimination of a human being. That said, that's not going to happen, so he's a liar. He also says that Youngkin is out there pushing this idea of critical race theory because it's a racist dog whistle. And he says it over and over again. I don't know what he means by a racist dog whistle. If he means those pushing it are blowing a racist dog whistle, he's right, but that's not what he means, obviously. He wants the people of Virginia to believe this is not an issue. He knows that most people in Virginia do not have kids in the public schools. You know, it's just a fact. They're older and so forth. But he's a liar because we know it's being pushed in the schools in Virginia. Virginia's ground zero, Loudoun County in particular, and Fairfax County. So he's a liar. But he wants people to think that Youngkin is creating an issue, and he's very divisive. And he keeps running against Donald Trump because Donald Trump lost Virginia by about 10 points. And he's running very expensive and long commercials. He's gotten money from Soros. He's getting money from defund the police movements. He's getting all kinds of money from the reprobates and the malcontents pouring into his campaign now. And he's running these lies. Have you noticed the Democrats never want to run on the issues? They never want to actually tell you what it is that they believe. And they never actually want to run against an actual Republican who has certain views, not the views that they try to project onto them. That's the nature of the beast. Anyway, he's being questioned here by a local reporter, and he gets very upset about it.
COVID, education. Yeah.
And finally, okay.
Thank you.
Democratic gubernatorial candidate for Virginia, Terry McCauliffe, cut his interview short after getting into a spat with a reporter. The former governor sat down with WJLA 7 News reporter Nick Minnock for a one-on-one interview. The same interview also sat down with a one-on-one interview with Republican challenger Glenn Youngkin. Both candidates were allotted 20 minutes airtime, but Mr. McAuliffe cut the interview short and chastised the reporter for not asking better questions. WJLA anchor Jonathan Elias had to explain to viewers why former Governor Terry McAuliffe's interview was cut short.
So if you watch those entire interviews on our website, we do want to point out that the Terry McCauliffe interview is shorter than our interview with Glenn Youngkin. That was not by our doing. Nick offered both candidates 20 minutes exactly to be fair for the interviews. McAuliffe abruptly ended 7 News' interview after just 10 minutes and told Nick that he should have asked better questions and that Nick should have asked questions 7 News viewers care about. That's what he said.
Now let's look at what actually did happen. Again, ABC 7 Washington, D.C. the other day. Go.
Terry McCauliffe, thanks for sitting down with us. The last time we had an opportunity to speak with you was at your final debate with your Republican opponent. And I want to go back to something that you said in that debate. You said this. You said, I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. So are you saying parents shouldn't have a voice in their kids' education?
Sure, parents should have a voice, and parents do have a voice.
And if you're reelected, would your future administration, your State Department of Education, issue mandates to schools telling them what to teach and how to teach it? We've seen over the recent months a flurry of activity at a lot of our school boards in Loudoun County, Fairfax County, and others. And the U.S. Attorney General came out with a memorandum on October 4th directing the FBI, U.S. attorneys to work with federal and state leaders to get involved with disputes between parents as well as school boards and school staff. Do you agree with President Joe Biden's U.S. Attorney General on this? Let's move to crime. Your Republican opponent said that the murder rate went up 43% when you were governor, and the rape rate went up every single year when you were governor. What would you do differently in your second term to address violent crime, decrease violent crime in the Commonwealth? And I want to get to COVID and the economy, but real quick.
Stop. His handler, McAuliffe's handler, is saying, okay, that's it. That's what he says, that's it. So his handler's trying to cut the interview because it's not going well. Because this young guy is actually asking very smart, pointed questions about McAuliffe's past statements and about his past record, and they don't like it. Go ahead.
I've heard you say that you want to invest $2 billion in education. How much would you invest in public safety? Is there a number? We heard a lot of feedback from our viewers in Northern Virginia on where you stand on COVID-19 vaccine. So real quick, yes or no, I know you don't have much time left. Do you support vaccine mandates for state employees?
Of course I do.
What about kids who are eligible to get the vaccine?
I'm for everybody getting vaccinated.
Would you require kids in schools to get vaccinated, whether that's attending school in person or participating in school sports?
Yeah. If the CDC says these are safe, then you bet we need to do everything we can to end it. And there's a real difference in this race. He is an anti-vaxxer. I want to raise the minimum wage. I want paid sick days. I want family medical leave.
Let's stop right there. Paid sick leave, paid family medical leave. The taxes in Virginia, the income tax, I think the top rate is about 5.6%. Whatever it is, I pay it. It's going to go through the roof. So more and more people will leave the state of Virginia. And so he's talking about a massive tax increase if that's what he wants to do. Go ahead.
Glenn Youngkin is against every one of those. He has a Donald Trump right-wing agenda. He will ban abortions. Your viewers should be very clear on this. He wants to ban abortions.
Now, after I heard him say that on the radio, I said, okay, I'll bet you $1 million he can't do that. Should he be elected governor? I'll bet you $1 million. So far, he hasn't taken me up on it. We've tried to reach him, and we can't get hold of him because he's a coward. He's a sleazeball. Go ahead.
In Virginia, he says election integrity is the #1 issue. No, it isn't. Healthcare, COVID, education, job.
And finally,
okay. All right, we're over. That's it.
Hey, we're done. We're done.
You should have asked better questions early on. You should have asked questions your viewers care about.
There you go. You didn't ask the right questions. That is the questions I wanted to talk about. And his handlers tell him to cut it short. It was supposed to be 20 minutes. As you heard, it was 10 minutes. Now, Youngkin sat for 20 minutes and took all questions. But they're not used to these kinds of questions. This is like Biden shuffling off after he makes a very incoherent speech. Well, Mr. President, and he turns around, he shuffles off. We've seen the back of his head more than we've seen the front of his face.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to LevinTV.com and subscribe now.